Hello there, my name is Wes and welcome to Saber Theory. Today we're going to be breaking down all of the upcoming Star Wars projects for 2024 and beyond. Let's get into it. I'd like to preface this video by saying these are my opinions, not Saber Theories as a brand. I did not check with anyone at Saber Theory to see how opinionated I can be. I probably should have, but here we are. Before we get too deep into this video, I'd like to plug my own Star Wars channel, Cal Westis. We do a ton of fun stuff over there. There's a link in the description. Now, let's get into this. The first thing I want to talk about is going to be Andor Season 2. Now, Andor Season 2 has a release date of April 22nd, 2025. So it's actually coming up. It's not that far away. This is something I am very heavily anticipating. I loved, with a capital L-O-V-E-D, loved the first season of Andor. I thought it was a masterpiece in literally everything. Acting, cinematography, dialogue, character development. I mean, costume design, everything was perfect. It has very quickly become one of my favorite Star Wars things and is actually in my top 5 favorite Star Wars things ever. The next thing coming out in 2025 is actually going to be Star Wars Visions Season 3. I am excited for this, but not nearly as much as Andor. Visions is a show that's kind of a mixed bag for, I think, a lot of people because it's a ton of different studios and animation styles. And while I think that's one of the things that makes it cool, narratively, it's a mixed bag, for sure. There's a lot of episodes that I will never watch again, but there are some episodes that I do revisit from time to time. The next thing on the release date list is going to be the Mando and Grogu movie. Now, this is a project I am super excited for. I am a huge fan of Jon Favreau and his storytelling. I think it hits a lot of the right notes for classic Star Wars while still feeling new and refreshing. I think the Star Wars fandom has been really craving the return to the theater. I think the Disney Plus shows are really fun and cool, and they give us a lot to talk about over an extended amount of time, you know, with the weekly release dates. But the movies, man, that's where Star Wars is. That's where Star Wars needs to be again. I think a lot of fans are just really wanting that excitement of seeing, you know, Star Wars on the big screen again. I think this is going to be terrific, and I cannot wait. Now, as for things that have official release dates, that's all we've got. Everything else is in development with no official release date attached. So we'll go ahead and erase this and switch to our green marker. I don't know why, but we're going to. Now, the next thing that is actually coming out, it does not have a release date attached to it, is Ahsoka Season 2. This, again, is something I am super excited for. Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. I think the first season was just so much fun, and in so many ways. I love Star Wars Rebels, and it felt like the perfect continuation of the characters and stories that were established in that show. I also think the live-action interpretations of a ton of the animated characters were just spot on. The casting for the show was incredible, and it left so many interesting and captivating loose ends in Season 1 that I can't wait to see how they follow up on in Season 2. Next on that list is going to be Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. Now, Taika is a director that I like. I wouldn't say I love him, though. He has a very specific style, and while I really enjoy what he did in The Mandalorian, I'm not really a huge fan of his stuff outside of Star Wars. So when he has full creative control over a film, I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic on that. He seems to really kind of lean into that humorous side of his things, and I do enjoy that, and Star Wars has always had a humorous side, but I'm just a little bit worried about him going maybe a little bit too far with it and maybe not knowing where that line is. Because while Star Wars is fun and it's for kids and for everybody, it does have an air of seriousness to it, and the characters have a ton of weight because of that. I don't want to watch his movie and not really feel or relate to the characters that he's establishing. The next thing on the list that I'm actually incredibly hyped for is James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie. Now, this bad boy, I am so excited for. I am a James Mangold fan. Logan, 3:10 to Yuma, Ford versus Ferrari, and even the new Indiana Jones movie, I think really hit in some areas. I really can't wait to see what he does with Star Wars, especially with a concept so fascinating as the Dawn of the Jedi. You know, getting to see what the first Jedi looked like, what they believed in, and how they became what they are in the prequel trilogy. Such a fascinating idea. The idea that we might get the first Jedi versus the first Sith, and seeing what that battle would look like and how saber styles have changed over the years, and it could be completely separated from everything we know, and it would just be so interesting, so interesting, and I cannot wait for this one. I am so excited for that. The next thing on the list is Dave Filoni's movie. This is, again, something else I'm very excited for. I'm a huge Dave Filoni believer, and I think this is going to be the culmination of everything we've seen in the Mandoverse. So Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Mando himself. I also think it's going to be really interesting to see for one huge reason. So Dave Filoni is now the creative director of Lucasfilm. He has been for a couple years, and so far, the only thing that he has fully written and directed on his own has been Ahsoka Season 1. Ahsoka Season 2 interests me for this reason, but also his movie even more so. A lot of people, including myself, see him as the future for Star Wars, and I think if this movie hits, it'll solidify my opinion that Dave Filoni truly is the future of Star Wars without George Lucas. Like I said, I'm already a big believer, but I really want to see what he's capable of on his own, especially when it comes to a feature-length movie. The following thing is Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's Rey movie. This is something I'm cautiously optimistic for. I don't hate the character of Rey, but I do think she's very underdeveloped. With proper storytelling and character development, she could get to a spot where she's a good character. That being said, Charmin does have a career that is not universally loved. Is she the right person for this movie? Only time will tell. The next and final thing on this list is going to be Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy. Now, this is something I'm also very excited about. I like the idea of Star Wars being trilogies. I like standalone movies as well, but a trilogy is really, where Star Wars began with the originals and continued with the prequels. I also really like the choice of Simon Kinberg. He worked on a ton of Star Wars Rebels, like pretty much 90% of it. Him and Dave Filoni obviously work well because of that time on Rebels, but something I'm a little bit cautious of him is the fact that I haven't seen a ton of his stuff outside of Rebels. And we also don't know what this trilogy is about. There's a lot of rumors that it's going to take place, and basically fill in for episodes 10 to 12 of the Skywalker saga, but there's also rumors that it could be something completely different. And that's it for all the upcoming Star Wars stuff. Now, I do have a question for you, and it's, are you excited for this Star Wars stuff? Is it a list of things that gets you hyped to get back into this galaxy far, far away? Let me know in the comments section down below. Personally, I think it has a ton of potential to remind us of the familiar eras of Star Wars that we know and love, but I also think it has potential to push things in a different direction and give us this new taste of something that is so well known. Don't forget to go check out my personal channel, Cal Westis. Like I said before, there's a link in the description. You will not regret it. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, and as always, may the Force be with you.